begin in 1632. That's the year in which King Charles I gave a grant, a proprietorship to Cecilius Calvert. Proprietorship essentially made the Lords Baltimore the proprietors of Maryland with both sovereign and governmental powers. Leonard Calvert, son of Cecil Calvert, became the first governor in residence. The major activity of the proprietor was parceling out the land. By parceling out the land, you received quit rents, which were essentially a real property tax. But there was also some governance to be done. And one of the first acts of the colonial government, Fort Baltimore's government, was to erect counties. St. Mary's County was erected in 1637, Kent 1642, and if I had the mouse, I think I'll have to use a pointer, but you can see the terrain. The aspect of north is on the right side of the screen. St. Mary's County, Susquehanna River here, city of Baltimore. It's hard to do this way, but first counties, as you know, St. Mary's, then Anne Arundel, Calvert and Charles were erected up until 1658. You might ask, what's the significance of a county? Well, I never thought too much about it, but if you inquire a little, you find that counties really have a great tradition. They go back to the Norman Conquest. They were the first unit of local government put in place by the Norman kings following the Norman Conquest. The ruling governance body was essentially the clerk of the county, or the shire, which had not only criminal and civil jurisdiction, but also responsibility for running county affairs. The county county court handled lawsuits. They appointed a sheriff. You remember the sheriff of Nottingham. They collected taxes. They provided police function. They were the coroner. So the county was really involved in very basic activity: death and taxes and litigation. First county officers were justices of the peace, the judges of the county courts, the sheriffs, the coroners, the constables. The Maryland proprietor copied from this old Norman tradition in England the notion of the county and put them in place in the Maryland proprietorship. By 1659, Baltimore County was known to have been erected. Now you say that's rather a peculiar turn of phrase. Well, there aren't any operative papers concerning the establishment of Baltimore County, except for one writ sent to the sheriff of Baltimore County. So just by virtue of that writ, we know that the county existed by 1659, because there was a sheriff of Baltimore County. So we have established Baltimore County. Baltimore County is on the right side of the screen. It essentially took in all the headwaters of the Chesapeake Bay. It included today's Harford, Carroll, and parts of Cecil County. It was a big and expansive, biggest and most expansive county so established. In 1674, the Maryland Assembly, the governance of the state of Maryland, had taken on some legislative aspect with both the proprietor and the legislative body making choices. The Act of the Assembly required counties to establish county seats, each of which was to have a courthouse and a jail. In 1676, the first Baltimore County seat was established at Old Baltimore on the Bush River. courthouse was erected. You can't quite see it from here, but if you look closely at the slide, you can see Old Baltimore on the Bush River, so depicted. In 1676, the county seat moved to the east bank of the Gunpowder River, under a town sometimes called Gunpowder. A town near to Joppa, but not yet Joppa. And the courthouse was moved to the east bank of the Gunpowder River. At this location, and what the county seat was meant to do, was to house the county court in the courthouse and to have a jail there for the criminal justice system, to put a lot of the people who misbehaved away. In 1712, the county seat was moved to the new boom town in Maryland, Joppatown. Joppatown in this era had become a thriving port. It had enough draft, and the port was deep enough so that it could handle ocean-going vessels. And you can see from the plat depicted display of the courthouse and the jail. Joppatown was doing well, cutting down the trees in the watershed. It was thriving as a port. Let's wait and see what the future is of Joppatown, because for both environmental and commercial reasons, its days are numbered.